Howdy. So I just came back from watching The Great Gatsby in theaters. So I figured while it's still fresh in my brain, I'm going to give a quick review of kind of how it affected me. And for those of you who weren't forced to read the book in high school or just didn't, I'm going to keep it relatively spoiler free for y'all, so you can probably still enjoy the movie as much as you can. So where do I start? First half hour of the movie was a horrible experience for me. It was like an opium den. It was with bad. It was horrible. It was like just the worst bad hallucinogenic experience of a movie. Like the cameramen were trying to induce epilepsy, and they took their notes from that episode of Pokemon that took out 150 Japanese kids like a decade ago. It was just everywhere. Scenes like 3 minute long scenes of narration moving to another one and just switching everywhere. Just I didn't feel like I should have had to keep up with that for about a half hour of movie. It just it just wasn't patched together. Like they just went to the cutting room floor and started making a picture slideshow in PowerPoint. It was, but even besides that, the when they finally did calm it down and get kind of together with the editing, the CG there was obnoxious and it was everywhere. Like the heads-up display from Terminator as branded by CNN, just information all over the place for no good reason that I could perceive. Um, it was everywhere, and I also thought the CG could have been better. I thought it could have been smoother. It looked fantastic in like a fantasy way, but it did not look fantastic. It didn't look good to me, crisp, or it just wasn't realistic. Besides that, the sound effects, the soundtrack, beautiful stuff. I actually kind of enjoyed it. They'd had a great time putting some hip hop and ragtime together, which I actually can kind of enjoy, but it just didn't mix well with the dialogue and narration. The levels were kind of too high at one point, and I just thought they were just riding too close. They weren't subtle enough. I like subtle ambiance. That was what makes it ambiance, not a whatever the opposite of ambiance. It. Besides that, good things about the movie. It was nice watching Leonardo DiCaprio play a better Romeo than Leonardo DiCaprio playing Romeo. A great romantic portrayal of the Gats. He's my good friend, the Gats. We go to parties together. You should talk to him. Tobey Maguire, however, not that he did a bad job at acting, but I just can't watch anything with him without believing that his character motivation is to honor the death of Uncle Ben. That's just ruined for me now. I don't know what else to say about that. Um, past that initial hellhole of a half hour of scene editing and cuts and just madness that I mentioned, there was about an hour and a half of really great palatable movie in there. I could watch it. I've read the book a couple of times. I love it, and so even knowing what's happening next, I could just enjoy it. I could just watch it and kind of have a fun time with it. That being said, there was maybe 15 minutes in the entire movie that actually touched on the topics and subjects that the book weighed heavily on. I felt that that was a kind of disservice to it, especially since they could have done a lot more. Um, they just put a lot of work into the movie. I thought they could have put those topics in a little bit more and still made them accessible. They're not inaccessible concepts, not deep or theosophic. They were just social concepts. I'm not going to mention in case you haven't read the book. Um, but I think they could have been a little bit more prominent. Overall, it was an alright movie that suffered from its production. Just way too much media, sound effects, and just jarring. It was kind of like cinematography and audio, multimedia bukkake being sprayed onto the audience in a 140-minute long money shot that would have made Peter North feel inadequate. That's all I got to say about that. Besides that, it wasn't terrible. I actually really enjoyed it. It was just obnoxious. It was very obnoxious. Great movie is obnoxious, like your little cousin. Kind of cool, terribly obnoxious. And that's all I got. Sayonara.